Hello, everyone. I'm Mandy Anderson. I am part of the ARIN TAC team, and one of my initiatives is MTSS Mathematics. And I'm going to be talking to you today about strategies to assist struggling math students. One of the first things we're going to think about is struggle. And we're going to talk about something called productive struggle. And what I want you to think about is how much should a student struggle before you offer help? We're going to move into a bit of an informal brainstorming activity. On a sheet of paper that you have near you, or you can make a document and type, I want you to have two columns. And in the first column, I want you to think about, from your perspective, what do you see students struggling with in the math classroom? And in the second column, I want you to change your perspective and think about things through the lens of a student, maybe one particular student that you work with. And I want you to think about the things that they would say are difficult in math class. What do they typically struggle with? You can go ahead and pause the video for a few moments and as you jot down your ideas. When you're ready, come on back. Here we have a quote from Ellie Cowan, who wrote an article called Harnessing the Power of Productive Struggle. Take a moment to read the quote, and then I want you to think about a time that you accomplished something really challenging, and think about how you felt after you accomplished that. Well, I don't know about you, but when I think about the things that I've struggled with but accomplished, I get a pretty good feeling. So we can kind of naturally tell that when we struggle and accomplish something, there's a connection there. Next, we're going to watch a short video from Edutopia. In this video, we'll take a deeper dive into productive struggle and the different ways it can help learners to struggle a little bit.
Students often believe that low-effort studying strategies are the most effective, favoring passive learning approaches like memorization, rereading, highlighting text, and listening to lectures. But those tactics can leave students with the false impression that they've mastered the material, when they almost certainly haven't. Meanwhile, struggle in the classroom is viewed as a sign that things are going badly. Teachers and students may opt for smooth sailing instead. But the truth is that easy and learning don't usually go hand in hand. It's when students are pushed beyond their comfort zone to solve problems that are hard, but still within their ability, that they engage in productive struggle and dramatically improve their learning outcomes. In a 2019 study, for example, researchers discovered that students preferred lectures to challenging activities like hands-on experiments and group problem solving. Unfortunately, the lecture students scored 10 points lower than their counterparts on the follow-up test. And in a landmark 2008 study, 7th grade students who regularly practiced solving complex, open-ended problems became sophisticated thinkers, outscoring their peers from a more traditional lecture-based classroom by 57% when answering challenging test questions. Temporary confusion and frustration aren't necessarily things to be avoided, the researchers concluded. Instead, they're the precursors to deeper, more durable learning. What makes productive struggle so effective? When students struggle to apply learning in new and challenging ways, they are more likely to probe for novel or unexpected connections, consider multiple ways to solve problems, and wrestle with the underlying differences between correct and incorrect solutions, all hallmarks of long-term retention. They also develop resilience, complex reasoning skills, and learn how to set and achieve goals, while developing a healthy attitude toward making mistakes. So think about how to push your students toward productive struggle, and try to be patient if they express frustration. Explain that temporary confusion isn't a sign of weakness or incompetence. It's how brains are supposed to feel when they are on fire with activity.
So just to recap a couple of things that we learned from the video. Easy and learning don't usually go hand in hand. So kids want things to be easy. Sometimes we have to explain to them that it's not always easy. Kids today want instant answers. They want instant gratification. They don't want to work to solve a problem a lot of times. So sometimes it's our job to explain to them how the brain learns and that we need a challenge. We need a bit of a struggle to help with the learning process. And along with that, kids need to understand that confusion and frustration are just part of the learning process. It's part of how the brain learns things. We just got to find that learning sweet spot, and that's a chore in itself. So next we're going to complete a tug of war activity, and that's in Google Classroom. If you open the assignment in Google Classroom, you'll find a Google slide that you can edit. So I want you to refer back to that list that you made at the beginning of this lesson, and when you talked about the things that you see students struggle with and the things that you think your students would see themselves struggling with. And then along with that, you're going to anticipate what some of the kids might say when they're struggling. So you're going to think of 2 or 3 things that students might say when they struggle. And then you're going to think of a few things that you might say to the students to help them work through that, sort of a pros and cons kind of list. If you have any questions, please reach out to me via email.